Hello again, Brad Florence here, your front-end web development instructor. Today we are on Lesson 2, Chapter 2, which is building a basic HTML document. Before we get started, I want to make sure everyone has a computer with good internet connection and a browser of their choosing, such as Chrome, Safari, Internet Explorer, or Firefox. And then also you will need a text editor, like we talked about in Lesson 1, Chapter 1. Your book mentions a few. The corresponding videos mention a few text editors to use. I like to use Sublime or Notepad++. A lot of them are very similar, but just try a couple out, see what you're most comfortable with. In the examples you see, I'll probably be using Sublime. Lesson 2, learning objectives, would be to build a simple web page, to recognize the standard HTML tags for every page. Now, there's a set of tags that every HTML document must have. I will go through this in the PowerPoint presentation coming up next, and I will also show you at the end of this introductory video. There's essential tags that every HTML document must have. I can't stress enough how important it would be to just get these locked in your memory now. Also, to write these down and save them. That way you can create a sample template of a blank HTML file with all the required tags that you can use for upcoming labs as a starting point. That way you don't have to keep typing them in every time. We're also going to talk about, in Lesson 2, Chapter 2, adding paragraphs and line breaks to your HTML document. We're going to talk about using semantic tags. We're going to talk about writing links to other web pages. In Chapter 2, there are a few really good diagrams in your book that show basic semantic elements in a web page and how to structure them. The first one I'm talking about is in the chapter where it talks about understanding semantic elements. It shows you the structure of a header on top. On the bottom is a footer. On the left is a nav tag. On the right is a tag that says aside. And in the center is a section tag followed by a header and followed by a footer in there. This is really helpful to get a visual of where all these tags will go on an HTML document. There's another diagram in Chapter 2. It says using nested semantic elements to add more meaning to the content. This one also starts with a header tag, but unlike the other one where the nav was on the side, this has the nav on top. Those are the two most common places to have a nav tag, on the left side or up above. As you probably see in websites you view, that is where most of the navigation menus are. In this diagram that I'm talking about, the second one, it has an article in the center with multiple sections inside. Each of those sections have their own headers, and then the footer is at the bottom. So I like to just keep these two diagrams in mind and think about that when you're setting up an HTML document where you want to lay out all your tags. Sometimes it's helpful just to add all of your opening and closing tags and lay out the whole kind of structure of your document first before adding any text or information in that. At the end of Chapter 2, there's this nice table that you can use as a reference point. It talks about all the HTML tags that were covered in this lesson. It lists them, and then it tells you what their function is. If you only get one thing out of Chapter 2, Lesson 2, it should be this, that there are 6 standard HTML tags that are required for every HTML document. So, like I said, in the PowerPoints, we will go over them, but I want to show you real quick what they are. The first one is a declaration of the document type, HTML. The second one is your HTML tag. The third one is your head tag. The fourth one, meta charset equals UTF-8. Notice that's in the head tag. The fifth one is your title tag. This is the title that is displayed in the browser. Now we close our header tag. And remember, everything in the head is not displayed on the page. It's only information about your document. And the sixth one is the body. This is where everything all else on your website will be. So all the paragraph tags that we're going to talk about, the breaks, all your articles, your sections, everything else will be in between these body tags. And of course, we're going to close that body tag and close that HTML tag. So these are the 6 standard HTML tags that every HTML document must have. In the PowerPoint, I'll show you this in code, and you can copy these down and save it because you want to have this as a kind of like a template to use when doing labs and for the upcoming lessons. That way you don't have to type this out every time. You'll just have a starting point of these required tags, and you can just go and type in the body section there.